Money is an important part of everyone's life. Until I realized this when I was in early 20s. Until that point, I was completely oblivious to the concept of money. Yes, I used to think about it when I was in college because for the most of the time I used to live alone and my parents used to give money at that time, and I used to go on a hunger strike just for, to save money. I never really actually did anything with that money. But I used to save that money, and from small as well. I never really, asked the question because the education system which we were in never really planted that seed to ask the question about how actually money works or how actually you can earn some money. I never really actually asked that question: where does the money come from? How can one earn money at any point in his life? That's the major drawback of education, and one of these days I'm going to talk about education, but that was the thing. I never really cared about it. My dad is the sole earner in our family. My mom is a homemaker, and he used to go to work and come back home from work, and I never really used to care about how the money came. He was always there to provide us, guide us and get us whatever we wanted without questioning multiple times, which is kind of a good way because you're not putting a lot of stress on your kid, but it also hinders that kid's ability to question on how you can get this thing or how you can earn that thing, whichever he or she wanted. But I do remember one thing. I used to have a coin house or whatever that thing was called. You put your coin and a dog comes and gets it up. That was actually a fun way to save up the money. And my dad used to, after work, he used to come back home with lots of pockets of change, and he used to just hand it over to me. And for the next 15 minutes, that was my job. I used to go, put one coin, the dog used to come and get it inside. That was all I did when I was very small. And as I grew up as well, I never really cared about it. My grandmother, whenever she came to visit or when I went to visit her, she used to give some money to us, and monthly, actually it was like a salary, which in retrospect, if I think back, yeah, it was kind of like a salary. But whenever I took that money from her, I used to just give it to my mom, which just vanished in thin air. I think this is like a typical Asian household story. I'm sure everyone would have done the same thing. But now if I think back, if I just invested in Nifty 50 or in US terms it's S&P 500, it would have grown a lot by this time. I mean, heck, I would have been, with abundant money that a high schooler can have. I might have had that much money. But nonetheless, it was never the case. And yeah, I used to save money, not in a savings kind of thing, but as I grew up, I wanted to buy certain things in life, right, on my own. I never really questioned, okay, how I can earn the money, but I just questioned how I can get the money from dad. That was actually a kind of a big mistake which I did in my very early days. But when I did, I used to get all the coins for months together. I used to save just enough to buy one single game. And I was very happy with that. I never really actually questioned anything. It was not until after my graduation or final year of my, undergrad that I actually started to think about how this actually money works. Thanks to one of my friend, I was introduced to the concept called investing. Until that point, I never really actually knew a stock market existed, which is actually another blunder of our education system or what we teach the kids. But thankfully, I think nowadays the kids would have known about these investing stuff because of the Instagram, YouTube, and all of these things. But back then we barely had internet access and we barely had a phone in our hand. Not that we were not having the access completely, but we were limited by our time which we spent on the internet because it was not easily accessible as it is today. But yeah, he introduced me to the concept of investing, and thankfully at that time we all got placed in very good companies and we started to earn a little bit money through internships. Not much, but we were earning. And another thankful thing which I have to say was not actually thankful, it's actually a bad thing, but COVID hit, and it was at this time we were working from home and we didn't have much of expenses back then because Amazon was shut down, all the groceries were shut down, we can't even buy anything. And the only thing which I did was take the money which I got from the company and just put it into the stock market. And that portfolio actually today has grown nearly 200 times the initial investment which I did, which is actually great. But yeah, it came at a cost. When he pitched in the idea that okay, you can't, he was the one who planted the seed in me. He told me you can't get rich just by living off the salary every month. And I was like, okay, then what other ways are there? I just asked him, and he told me, okay, there are things called investing, owning properties, and owning a piece of a business which actually gets you the real wealth. Until that point, I never really actually read about these self-help books or financial books or any of the things, but he was the guy who actually changed the trajectory of me thinking about money in a whole other way. And thankfully, my office was very near to the place where I lived, and I actually went by walk. And during the walk, I bought a audiobook of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and my God, that changed it on to a whole other level about how the rich people think and how the poor people think and how the middle class people think. I'm not going to say that book is like a, gold mine or any of the things, but it certainly planted a seed in me to think differently about how different people think about money differently and how you should think about money in a certain way. And that was like a catalyst for me. For the Rich Dad Poor Dad was a catalyst for me, and I just bought a lot of other books surrounding the concept of money, like The Psychology of Money. There are other books that I don't recall, but I bought a lot of books and I started reading upon them, what it actually is and how it is. But the central idea in all the books that I've read is one thing: you have to own a piece of business. Until you own a piece of business, you can't be truly rich. That's the only thing which I saw in each and every book. Psychology of Money, on the other hand, is another way of thinking of money, because see, you can have unlimited money, you have the potential to earn a lot of money if you want to, but it comes with a sacrifice with your relationship, might be your health or any other things. You have to have a little bit of sacrifice, not a little bit, you have to have a lot of sacrifice in order to earn that money that you have. And you have the luck plays even more factor, the environment where you are in the world, the people you are surrounded with, all that matters as well. But the deep core part of the Psychology of Money book, which I found interesting, was having a fixed amount of number of money that you want to earn, and after that you can live off with certain amount of money going forward. What do I mean by that? So say suppose I have a number in my mind, right? I have this much money that I want to earn so that tomorrow when I wake up, I don't have to worry about work. Even if the work is not there, back of the mind, I know that okay, I have achieved the number that I wanted. I can just go, show up, do a little bit of work, and if I have to, I can explore all the other stuff that I want, or just live my life, feeling fulfilled, being surrounded by people that I love, and just be with it. That is also one realization which I got, which my current circumstance taught me for the past 1 year. I'm going to talk about it at the very end. But yeah, as I was telling, right, so these are all things were happening, and savings were happening on the back end, and multiple investments went out. And this was actually the time when NFT and crypto got a certain boom, and I also jumped into it. I also bought some meme coins, and I still own some meme coins. I don't know whether it will be, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a throwaway money that I am going to have. I don't, if it gives me wonderful returns, well and good. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. I just thought it off as the throwaway money. It was a gamble at the end of the day. Anything, if you are investing, if you are doing a strategic investing as well, it would be 90 or 95% of the time you might be doing a strategic investment, but you are taking a gamble on 5% on the person who is running that company, right? Whatever form of financial goal you have, whatever form of investing that you are doing, you're eventually taking a bet, you are eventually taking a gamble, you can say. It's kind of like a casino, but legal. That's all. You can buy a piece of land which actually is secure in most of the sense, but you never know. Natural disasters can happen and ruin the value of those land, and you can't just do anything about it, right? So there's nothing such as 100% safe investment. No, there is always a gamble that you have to take. There is always a gut feeling that you have to go with in order to do certain kind of investment. And that brings me to another way. So yeah, we all know that the primary way to earn money is going to a job, getting the salary, and living your life. There is certainly not at all wrong with that. I just want to emphasize on that point again and again, because I see in a lot of internet that being a 9 to 5 job is like a, what do you call that, bad or mentally draining, or it's not fulfilling or anything. Yes, to some extent I'm going to agree with them, but I'm not going to agree a lot with them, because my current circumstances, which I am right now, has taught me that you can't blame 9 to 5 job unless you have tried the other thing and compare both of them, and you are going to always choose this 9 to 5 job. And I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I'm going to explain it in detail in the towards the end of the video. But yeah, as I was talking, right, there is no certain time kind of investment and all those stuff. And yeah, you're going to have financial goals, right? Everyone will have their financial goals, and if you have not, I highly recommend you go and write down your financial goals right now. What is that kind of money, or what is that amount of money that you want in your, not in the same form of savings, in the form of investing, in the form of anything, in your actual bank account? What is that amount of money that will bring you a sense of freedom, right? Yes, take all the investing monies or savings or whatever the things which you have done and add it up, but there should be some emergency fund that you should have in your bank all the time, so that you can have it at an instant. What is that kind of money that you want to have? And when you achieve that, just question, okay, am I able to take the next step in my career or risk or any of the things that I want to do? If the answer is no, there is always a back, you can come back to doing the 9 to 5 job and all those stuff. And I'm going to come back to this 9 to 5 thing towards the end. But yeah, I was talking about the one way of earning the money, right, which is through 9 to 5 job. There is absolutely nothing wrong. I'm going to emphasize that point again and again. The best thing that you can have in your life is a job that you can't, a job that you will not be able to worry about, because at the end of the day, you will get paid. That's the kind of a job that you want to have. If that 9 to 5 job is not doing that, it is high time that you change the job, company or whatever. At the end of the day, you want to have a peace of mind, and at the end of the month, you need to have a salary which is credited to your account. If it is not happening in your current company, I think it's high time you change that company and get good and get into a better company, right? There are plenty of companies which are going to do that. For example, my company itself, which I was in, I'm going to name that because I was working in a company called Micro Focus, and it was the best company. At the end of the day, I had a peace of mind. I used to go to work at 10. I used to come back at home at 4:30 or 5. I used to work for roughly 6 to 7 hours. In that 6 to 7 hours, I used to have a lunch break. I used to have other breaks, refreshment, enjoy, spend time with my colleagues and everything. at the end of the day I was at peace and I was able to work on something else that mattered to me. And actually I actually worked on multiple things when I was in my job. That was the best thing that I could have happened to me. And yeah, the salary was not too competitive, but it was fair enough for me to have a comfortable life where I was in. Coming to the second source of income, right? I'm going to argue that there is no such thing as passive income. Passive income is a myth. So everyone talks about you have to have a passive income where you're going to make money when you sleep. Yes, you have to have kind of a business which makes money when you sleep, but when you are awake, you have to pour in the time that you have to pour in the work in order to make that money work for you when you are asleep, right? If you don't do that, it will eventually crumble and you will not be able to do anything. So in a sense, what I'm arguing is there is no true passive income. There is a second income which I can say, but not a passive income. It's a secondary active income is what I would like to call it. But yeah, so as I told, I was in the company and I had plenty of free time. So I started to explore, okay, what can I do? What is the thing that I want to do right now? And I'm not gonna say I was very good at drawing, but I was fairly good at drawing. So I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. This was the time when Instagram just released Instagram Reels. So I was very fascinated by that and I started to upload. I did not think about, okay, this is going to make me money. No, I did not think about that. I just showed up. I drew every single day. I recorded the process of me doing that and I uploaded. That's the thing which I did. And another book which helped me was Show Your Work. Austin Kleon, I think the author of the book is. And I did exactly what he told. Document the journey of what you are doing and the right people are going to find you eventually. And after 3 to 4 months of me doing that, there was not much happening. The initial likes and shares and all those were coming from my friends. But one of the reels took off and it changed the trajectory of my account. It grew from nearly 1,000 to 20,000 in a matter of 2 months. And I was very much, elated. It was at this time that the Reels bonus was announced and I started to earn a little bit. That gave me a sense of, okay, this can work out. This can indeed work out. And I started to draw more, which actually hindered my process. I want to talk about hobbies some other day, but the moment my hobby got associated with monetary value, I started working for the monetary value instead of for my hobby, and that actually hindered the growth. That I lost that zeal, or I lost that happiness which I got from drawing, because it was like I was doing the work. I was drawing just so that I can earn a little bit of money. Earlier, when the monetary value was not there, I was just doing it for the fun, because I don't expect a lot of things. I don't hope I did not have anything at all. I just wanted to share the work that I was doing, and I found happiness in that, because some people would come up and say, okay, this is very good drawing, this is absolutely stunning, and I used to get happiness from that. But when I added this monetary value to my hobby, that actually diminished the excitement that I had. I'm going to talk about hobbies some other day, but I just wanted to highlight some extra things which I did. And this was also the time when I started to do NFT as well, which never actually took off, but I actually gave a shot for NFT as well. So yeah, I have been talking a lot. Now, about taxes, right? Whenever we speak about money, we have to speak about taxes, because that's the one thing which no one actually teaches you. Every month you're going to get salary, every year you have to file the tax. Who knows how much tax you have to pay? No one will tell you. The government knows how much you have to pay, and you have to file that. Okay, see, this is the tax that I'm going to pay you, and they will cross verify. Instead of them saying, okay, this is the tax that you want to pay, they're making us do the thing, and the whole system is kind of a fucked up. I mean, I understand from their perspective that if they don't disclose the money that we want to pay the tax, that we might pay extra tax, but that is often a very rare scenario that might happen. But eventually, yeah, taxes are a pain in the ass process to do. To this day, I fucking hate doing taxes. But yeah, the government money works in very mysterious way. There are capitalism, democracy, that this. I don't want to get into the deeper things of money, about bringing politics into the equation in this talk. I just want to have my own base of, my experience with money and those stuff. I just wanted to have it, kind of like a documented, you can say. So yeah, coming to my current circumstances, right? I actually spoke about it earlier. Well, it's been 1 year. Yeah, exactly 1 year. I left my job. It was a very high paying job, and I lived a very comfortable life, which I was making myself miserable, thinking that okay, the 9 to 5 is bad and all those stuff. Maybe I was influenced, you can say, by the internet. But deep down, even if without this internet, I had that one view. I want to do something differently. I want to try creating my own business, kind of thing. And I did have an idea, but my sister had a better idea. So I just went along with my sister, and me and my sister started a startup. There were a lot of ups and downs that happened, and I had told, right, I left my job thinking that this startup will start in another 2 to 3 months, because it was almost over. I thought, okay, maybe I should give it 100%, because if I had did that for Instagram, maybe something would have happened for me. I would have changed my career path. But there was that one thought back in my head that I want to give my 100% in whatever that I do. And that thought drove me towards doing this startup, going full in on the startup. But unfortunately, it took nearly 8 months to just just to release the MVP, which was a major drawback, which should not happen. There are a lot of fault that I blame myself, but yeah, eventually that happened. And it was not until last 3 months that the app or the website got live and we started to get some traction. It is not much, we are not earning anything at all. And for the past 1 year, I have earned 0 rupees. I have earned nearly 0. I have not earned any money. I had my savings. I told at the beginning, right, you have to have savings. And I had projected it for 2 years. In my hometown, I can survive with the funding that I have. And no one really talks about this, but starting your own business is not about the money, it's not about the building a product, it's not about your competitors, fighting against your competitors, but it's the inner battles that you're going to do with yourself. No one is going to talk about that. Your mental health gets fucked, because every single day there are other people who are doing better than you. I'm not saying that you have to compare, but you can't avoid that, right? The people around you are moving forward, doing some amazing things in their careers, climbing up the corporate ladder, having a better salary, living their life, and you're here struggling without earning any money, trying to make an impact on the world, which you have no idea that will work or not down the lane, because there's 99% chance that a startup will fail and only 1% chance that it will succeed. And all the efforts that you put without earning money, you are back to ground zero and you have to start over again. I am at that situation, right? That made me realize the biggest mistake that I did was leaving my job a little bit too early. If I had left it after 1 year of this going off the ground and making some money, maybe I would have had a very positive impact on it. But I did a blunder. I left my job a tad bit too early, and that fucked up my mental health and stuff like that. Right now I barely have any money. I barely have anything. When you have very little bit of money left in your account, you start to panic. You start to do, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Certainly, you can't take another risk. You can't think of starting, okay, this did not work out. What's the next business that I can start? No. You'll always look for a 9 to 5 job. And I think that's the thing which I'm going to do. I am trying to prepare for the interview. It's been a very, very long time since I gave an interview. But that made me fucking realize 9 to 5 is a blessing that most people hate. Certainly I did. I gave myself a hard time because I was doing the 9 to 5 job. I used to blame, I used to talk shit about it, I used to do a lot of things, but until I did the opposite thing of that, I realized that what I had was 100 or 1,000 times better, because I had a peace of mind there. You can have all the money in the world, but if you are not at peace, then it will have not been worth it. So yeah, I might give an update on if I get a job or something down the line, but currently no. Currently I'm doing my best, the startup is not dead, right? It is still there. We are still trying to run it and stuff like that, but for the next good 1 to 2 years, it will not earn us money. So I am just going to look for another job so that I can earn a little bit of money. That's my plan. So if I have to give a parting word, don't leave your 9 to 5 job. Invest in all the things that you want. Live a life that you define it. You define your life. Don't let others dictate the life that you want to be defined. I think that's all that I wanted to say. Anyway, so I will probably see you tomorrow. So hopefully, bye. Bye bye.